So a lot of people are starting to push back against the bullshit COVID narrative, the lockdowns, the mandates, the suppression of early treatments, the unbelievable litany of lies that we've been fed by Dr. Fauci, Collins from the NIH, the establishment media, the CDC. Everybody's starting to push back. Even the Daily Show is on the regular making fun of the CDC and their garbage. Well, so now Bill Maher has something to say, and Whoopi Goldberg does not like it. Here, I'll show you.
So just people on the fringe either who are speaking out like this. And over the weekend, Bill Maher made a case for people who are vaccinated, boosted, and have been following the rules since all of this started. Take a look.
I don't want to live in your paranoid world anymore, your masked paranoid world. You know, you go out, it's silly now. You know, you have your mask, you have to have a card, you have to have a booster, they scan your head. Like you're a cashier and I'm a bunch of bananas. I'm not bananas, you are.
That's not really funny to people who've lost their kids to this vaccine or people.
Right away, she goes to the kids. Right away, she goes to the... But people have lost their kids to this vaccine.
Wait, lost the kids to the vaccine,
kids,
she said?
She said vaccine, by the way, which is her Freudian slip.
Yeah.
Because kids have a lower risk from COVID than they do from the flu. Kids' risks from serious illness and death from COVID is so low, it can almost not be calculated. So again, Whoopi Goldberg, just like everybody who's crazy about this, COVID, and upset at people who aren't vaccinated or whatever, don't know anything about the science involved in this. None. They just know the propaganda that came right from a criminal named Anthony Fauci. And that's not hyperbole. Anthony Fauci's a fucking criminal who should be in jail and who has lied repeatedly to us about COVID, what we should do about it, how we should handle this, the seriousness of it, the whole thing. He's lied 100%. And Whoopi Goldberg doesn't know her asshole from a hole in the ground. Of course she doesn't. She thinks voting for Joe Biden makes her a good person. And so she doesn't know anything about kids, but that's the first thing she says is, oh, that's not funny that somebody's like a Canada. Jeez. Okay.
Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think statistically more kids die every year from not selling enough lemonade to cover brain surgery.
That's correct.
From COVID.
Lost family members or dear friends to this. It's just, listen, nobody.
Yeah, comedy, you're not supposed to use comedy for the dark stuff. You need comedy to make fun of stuff like when you go to Disneyland. That's exactly what you need comedy for, proving that Whoopi Goldberg was never funny, isn't funny, and will never know what comedy actually is. You don't need comedy to lift your spirits after a day at the beach. You need comedy so you can laugh at the shit that scares the hell out of you so you don't walk around shitting your pants all day. That's why you need comedy. You don't need comedy to lighten your load from your day at Disneyland. You need comedy to lighten your load from living in a fucking pandemic for 2 years and having the government lie to you nonstop and having people like you in the media lie and fearmonger about a disease that she had, by the way, and she's fine. You know what she had a year ago? She had pneumonia and almost died. Not COVID pneumonia, just regular pneumonia. So am I not allowed to make pneumonia jokes? Am I not allowed to make airplane jokes? Am I not allowed to make jokes about war? Am I not allowed to make jokes about car accidents? Or am I not allowed to make jokes about anything that kills anybody? You know, the reason you need comedy in the first place. So you could laugh at the things that scare the hell out of you and you can have some control over your life. No, Whoopi Goldberg, like Howard Stern, another unfunny guy, wants us to perpetually shitting our pants and living in our basements until we eradicate this virus, something that is never, ever going to happen. And by the way, it was never, ever going to happen. So these people who I still encounter today in January 2022 still say to me that, well, if everybody would have just locked down like they were supposed to and wore their masks like they were supposed to, and if they would have just got the vaccine like they were supposed to, we could have eradicated this. This is a worldwide virus, and there is no way to eradicate this virus. There never was. It's never going away, and it's going to be here forever. So if you thought that, you were lied to. And now you've internalized that, which is why you hate other people instead of being angry at the establishment that is inflicting the pain. If lockdowns worked, we would have got rid of this. By the way, they're not giving the vaccine to poor countries. So that guarantees the virus will always, again, it's always going to be, no matter if everybody in the world got vaccinated, the virus would never go away. This is not that kind of a vaccine. It's not like a vaccine for smallpox. It's not like the vaccine for me. This is not what this is. This vaccine is a non-sterilizing, leaky vaccine, which means when you get the vaccine, you can still transmit the virus and you can still contract it, to the point where Dr. Fauci is now saying everyone is likely to contract the virus. Can you turn that off?
It's amazing that that doctor they banned off Twitter, Malone, that was saying this stuff that they're saying and that's why he's in trouble.
That's why he's in trouble. He was saying the exact thing that Fauci and the head of the FDA is now saying, that that the virus is ripping through Omicron, and the vaccine doesn't provide you that great a protection against Omicron, to the point where everyone's likely going to get the virus now. By the way, it was never true that if everybody got vaccinated, we could get rid of the virus. Fauci lied about that, about herd immunity. He lied about it, just like he lied about masks, just like he lied about funding gain of function, just like he lied about the origin of the virus when he said the idea that it came from a lab in Wuhan was a conspiracy theorist. That was also a lie. Okay, there's more to this.
On the planet really wants to go through this. This is not something we're doing because it's, sexually gratifying. This is what we're doing to protect our families.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do it, but stay away from everybody. Because if you're the one who's...
Hey, okay, Whoopi, I got news for you. You can be triple vaccinated, quadruple vaccinated. You can still get the virus, and you can still infect others. You can still be asymptomatic and be triple vaxxed and still transmit the virus.
Why did she specify?
So this idea that you get the vaccine and now you're the good person who's not going to infect anybody else is a complete myth. It's a myth. It was never true. The best you could get was the FDA said they hoped it prevented transmission. So she's, again, why isn't this ever called out for medical misinformation? Because everything Whoopi Goldberg is saying right here is medical misinformation, not Joe Rogan. Whoopi Goldberg. Do they have a person that's going to look it up on the internet for them like Joe Rogan does in real time? And if they got something wrong, they'll correct it? No, they just going to get everything wrong. Here she goes.
Not paying attention. And you're coughing and sneezing, you don't want to, then stay out of the public, man. This is not, nobody wants this. I don't want it. And I think he's forgetting that people are still at risk who cannot get vaccinated.
There are people who are at risk all the time. There are people who are at risk all the time. Do you want to know what the real risk is of hospitalization from COVID? 0.89% if you're unvaccinated. And that goes for the obese, that goes for the elderly, that includes people with comorbidities. All those people, if you're unvaccinated, your risk of hospitalization from COVID is 0.89%. So what she's doing again here is scaremongering you with propaganda that was put in her head by Big Pharma and that criminal Dr. Fauci.
Can't get the little kids under the age of 5. Yeah. Or people with health conditions.
People under the age of 5 can't get the vaccine, and she's upset about that. They don't need the vaccine, Whoopi. Children pose almost zero risk. Well, it is zero. It's 0.001%. It's actually less than zero. And so this is Whoopi got. And this is not going to be flagged. No one's going to be upset about this. CNN and the Rolling Stone magazine, nobody's going to cover this.
How dare you be so flippant, man?
Well, they're still people. They're over it, like a relationship. I'm over it. I don't feel like seeing him anymore.
Did she say that?
Yes.
How dare you be so flippant? She goes, "What? They're saying I'm over it." She said that about the Iraq War.
Oh my God!
How
she said,
dare
get
you be
over
flippant.
it. It was a long time ago.
That's unbelievable.
How can it? And these are pretend comedians. Joy Behar, if I had the power, I would take away her comedian card. Because this is ridiculous. You can't make fun of stuff. You can't make jokes about the fucking pandemic. You're out of your mind. Holy shit. She's just as demented as Joe Biden. She's out of her. Do you know her, Kurt?
I've never met her.
I've never met her either, but what a batshit fucking crazy idiot she is.
I remember as a kid from being on AM radio.
She's stupid on purpose. That's what this is. I know she's stupid. I know what she's saying is wrong. I'm not on fucking ABC with millions and millions and millions of dollars and a fucking staff to help me. She has the power of ABC to help her.
To the post-mask part, because I think there's a prudence we've learned with the mask, the hand sanitizing, that kind of like 9/11 with flying is always going to be here now. There's a new normal. In the beginning, when at post 9/11, people didn't want to fly, and the security measures felt like, how do we do this?
Are you kidding?
They still do, by the way. They still feel like I have to take my shoes off. Why do I have to take my shoes off? Hey, do you know you don't have to take your shoes off anywhere else in the fucking world? Do you know that's window dressing? And how about any time they try to slip a gun through? It always gets through. Whenever they try to get that stuff through security, it always gets through. Go ahead, Kurt.
6 out of 10 times. I actually had a joke about it. Some guy used to work for the airline was telling me, he goes, yeah, if they turn it a certain way, you just can't see a gun in the x-ray. So they try to have a guy sneak a gun through. 6 out of 10 times it gets through at LaGuardia and JFK.
And now it's the norm. I think some of the things we've learned in this pandemic are going to stay the same. I may never ride a subway again without a mask. I may never go indoors to big crowds and never feel comfortable without a mask.
Because I'm a maniac.
Wow.
And I've got a fear button, and the establishment can control me with that fear button, no problem. I'll give up my rights. I'll bow down to authoritarianism, and I'll never feel comfortable around other human beings again. That's what she just said. I'm never going to feel comfortable around other human beings. You're out of your fucking mind, lady.
Jimmy, do you think she speaks for all of America's wine moms?
And by the way, their votes counts just as much as yours. Their uninformed, ignorant, fucking mouth-breathing ideas, which are all wrong, their vote counts just as much as yours. I was told it was the Trumpers who were the dummies. They were the ones voting against their own interests and don't know anything about anything. These people don't know shit. And they're wrong and loud about it.
And that's up to me to do that.
Yeah, it sure is up to you to do it. It sure is. Guess what? She's literally not wearing a mask and not social distancing as she says this. What the fuck?
I think she meant around commoners.
That's right. I think that's what she meant. I'm not going to go in a room full of regular people, but elites, of course. Elites, yes. People, social influencers, things like that, of course.
I'm surprised they don't all wear masks just because how much Whoopi farts on the show live.
I know.
There's a lot of clips.
I'm going to get to that. Don't tip it, dummy.
Oh, I thought you skipped it.
No. I can't play two videos at once. And by the way, she doesn't need to be social distancing or wearing a mask. The virus can't get you when you're sitting down hosting The View. Everyone knows that. I'm just telling you what the science is. While you're seated hosting The View, the virus can't get you. That's the science. I'm just letting you guys know. Whoopi Goldberg's in shock over positive COVID-19 test. You know why she's in shock? Because Whoopi Goldberg doesn't know anything about COVID or the vaccines or anything about anything. That's why. Whoopi might have made a whoopsie. Goldberg explained that it was a shock, seeing as she was triple vaxxed and had not been anywhere or done anything outside her home. And she still got it. And she was shocked because she hosts a show where we talk about the day's news and she doesn't know fucking anything about it. Nothing.
She hasn't done anything except host The View. She probably got it on The View from the other vaxxed guests.
That you probably got it on The View. Because even if you're vaccinated, you could still obviously catch it and obviously transmit it. She was shocked. Kind of like how she was shocked when people responded poorly after she encouraged Ted Danson to do blackface. Remember that? Yeah. Goldberg then reflected on the pandemic, saying, now here we go, more misinformation. She's saying that COVID-19 isn't going anywhere unless people get vaccinated and boosted. Hey, Whoopi, it's not going anywhere no matter how many people get vaccinated and boosted. The virus is never going away. This vaccine is not a sterilizing vaccine. It doesn't work that way. And you don't know that because you're stupid on purpose. Because your paycheck is signed by Big Pharma. That's why. And your fucking sanctimony and your self-righteousness is just that bullshit. It's self-righteous, sanctimonious bullshit. Because you're wrong, 100%. And why don't you start being angry at the fucking oligarchs who are understaffing our hospitals right now and cutting our ICU beds? We've lost almost a freaking 500,000 more. 500,000 beds since 1975 in this country, hospital beds. Yeah, it doesn't stop Omicron, and that's the problem with a variant, she says, because it gets stronger. Everything she thinks, at every time she says something about Omicron or the virus, it's wrong. And no one's saying anything about it. So, unless everybody gets vaccinated, this is what even if everybody gets vaccinated, you're still going to be dealing with this, Whoopi. Don't you know that you were triple vaccinated, boosted, and you still got the virus? And you couldn't go to work because you could still transmit the virus? So this, again, how can these people be living through this? Be triple jabbed, get the virus, can't go to work because they know they can pass it, but still think that if someone else gets vaccinated, it'll stop it. It didn't stop it with you. Why would it stop it with someone else? They never think these things through because they are so fucking stupid and incurious. And that's why Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar are such shit comedians. I don't know that about Joy Behar. I've never seen her comedy. Maybe she's funny. But she should have to turn in her comedy card because that's horrible. And here's so it's obvious that the vaccine doesn't stop the spread, but Whoopi is sure that more vaccines will. Again, she's not going to be censored. Nobody's going to ask her to be kicked off. CNN's not going to say get a fact checker on the Whoopi Goldberg show. So here, one of her co-hosts, this is from a couple of years ago, we're talking about how they're not going to get the flu vaccine. And watch what Whoopi does.
Hey, listen, you know what? Many people are refusing to get a flu shot this winter because almost half of Americans are convinced the flu shot can make them sick. Now, doctors insist that it is biologically impossible. Do you all get the shot?
I will not get the shot. I feel like, why do I want to inject something into my skin that's gonna make
Excuse me.
Yeah, whoa.
That was Whoopi farting. So as soon as her co-host starts to say something negative about the flu vaccine, Whoopi does a fart as if on cue to cover it up for Big Pharma. It's a fartma.
She farts for Big Pharma.
That's what she's doing.
Breakfast burrito.
Hold on for a minute.
better now.
You know, those breakfast burritos, they kill us every
kill you.
day.
I tell you.
That's racist. That's racist. She's saying Mexicans food makes you gassy. Racist. We added a second show January 26th in Raleigh, and we're going to be in Philadelphia on February 20th. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all our tickets. And while you're there, become a premium member. Get access to all our premium videos.